Racing and our Galway special preview. Gary Tewey here, and I'm joined by Mark Fanning. Mark, how are you today?
Good, Gary, yourself?
Look, we're living the dream, Mark. Look, I suppose for anyone listening for the first time, Mark and myself have joined in a small little venture where we're going to start every week having a small little, I suppose, a horse racing podcast where we're going to try bring something different from other podcasts out there, where we're going to go behind the scenes and not just talk to your owners, trainers and jockeys. We're going to try get involved with other people in racing, your stable lads, your stable lassies and other people behind the scenes. Mark, look, it's Sunday evening here, we're recording this. We're here in Turles at the moment, just after having the grub in his hotel. Absolute lovely dinner there. Mark, we're heading to Galway tomorrow. We're hoping to last a full week. Now, we'll see how that goes. But look, ahead of day one, are you excited for the week?
I'm very excited. It's one of my favourite weeks of racing, Gary. 7 days of action, both sides, both codes, and then, of course, the big amateur races as well. It's going to be a phenomenal week, always is. Just hope the rain kind of eases off a bit. I wouldn't like to see the track now if we keep getting this rain we're getting. I was talking to one of the lads who's up there at the minute. They're still getting a bit of rain. I was looking at the forecast and that. And at the moment, the jumping ground is yielding and flat ground is soft. But look, as you said, we've come together. We're going to bring our perspective on horse racing, Irish horse racing, English horse racing, and some of the international meetings. It's going to be exciting. We'll do a bit of an intro on that later down the line, but we're just going to focus on Galway this week.
And Mark, suppose, look, yourself, you always do your kind of YouTube's preview. So, look, this is our first time doing a joint venture together, and look, we're very excited to get started. And look, no better place than Galway. And we're going to jump straight into it. We're going to go through all 7 races, I suppose, for day one. We're going to go through them quickly. But at the end of every, I suppose, preview, we're going to do a Lucky 15 this week in Galway. So, look, it's either going to be a Euro win Lucky 15 or 50 cent each way, obviously depending on prices. So, we'll touch on that at the very end. But Mark, we're going to start with the 5:10, the first race in Galway tomorrow. It's the galwaybay.com and the galmoint.com novice hurdle. And look, we were speaking about this earlier on off air, and obviously, look, it's no surprise that Willie Mullins has a favourite forward, but it's not just any favourite. It's a favourite that has ran once, and that was in a bumper, and it goes straight to a novice hurdle where it has other winners around it as well, and that is Mystical Power of Willie. Now, Mark, look, give me your thoughts on Mystical Power. Obviously, we're going to open up very short, around the even money mark, odds on in some places, but look, give us a small bit of a background into Mystical Power.
First of all, I was lucky enough to see this son by Galileo out of Any Power. Of course, we all know what Any Power was. Make his debut in Ballinrobe in a bumper. So it's very interesting that it comes here straight into this novice hurdle, because Willie does farm this race, but albeit with winners of hurdle races. So it's coming here. But I remember watching Paddy's post-race interview at the track, and he said he had plenty of jumping done and jumps very well. Now, that evening, there was a lot of talk. Obviously, Ballinrobe do a phenomenal job up there. If anyone's definitely up around the area, get up to Ballinrobe. It's one of the best country tracks I've ever been at. But leaving that aside, all the talk was for Mystical Power. Duly obliged, be a workmanlike, but you could see by him he was definitely going to come on from the run. When the final decks came out yesterday, I was looking at this and trying to take it on, and you know what? I'm not going to take him on. Now, I would like the price to go out a bit. If you got a bit of 6-4 of that, I'd be happy enough to take it on. But I think definitely, look, we don't have to question Willie Mullins bringing any kind of this horse here. I think he definitely has enough jumping done. And I'm going to go with Mystical Power and JP McManus, John Magner and Miss Susanna Ritchie, of course. What a giant ownership that is.
It won't be a bad winner for JP, linking up with obviously Mr. Magner and Mrs. Ritchie as well for the first time. But look, I suppose previous winners of this race, like you're looking at Roy Legal last year, obviously Roy Legal in the double green. Obviously, I think it's targeted at one of the handicaps later on during the week, and I personally think there's still a couple of pounds in hand there. Far Out won in 2021. You're going back to 2018, Easy Game won at Richburg as well. Becassin, obviously we all know Becassin back in 2015 won it for Ruby and Willie as well. So this isn't just, I suppose, any average novice hurdle. I do agree with you, Mark. I do think Mystical Power will duly oblige. Obviously, you're going more on potential than anything else. I don't think it's an overly strong renewal of this race. Now, there is one that I do think is probably worth a small bit of each way value, because I wouldn't be backing Mystical Power at even money. But Andy Slatchy's horse, Dark Note, interests me a small bit. Keen Quirk is riding claiming 5. It's around the 11-1 mark there at the moment. Now, Dark Note won a maiden think only back on the 9th of July in Sligo. Maiden hurdle over 2 miles. They extended 2 miles. Was rated 113. Got an extra £5 for that. But the most interesting part about it, it was turned out really quickly 2 days later in Tramore for 1 mile 4 flat handicap. So look, the horse obviously comes in on a rich vein of form. And I do think the track around Galway will suit Dark Note. So look, God forbid if Mystical Power was to make any mistakes or slip up or anything, that kind of sense, Dark Note at 11-1 is one that I think might chase home. And look, I suppose you're going to have to mention John McConnell's horse there, second favourite. Obviously, Hypotenuse. Obviously, John McConnell trains it and Ben Harvey claiming 3. So that's of interest as well. So Mark, you're going for Mystical Power. I do agree with you, but I'm going to go with Dark Note each way there. So Mark, we're going to move on to the second race. That is the 540. And that is the 2 mile handicap. 23 declared. It's for 4-year-olds plus. Now, again, we spoke about this while we were sitting inside there in Hazes having the dinner. This is an absolute class handicap. It's a 109 rated handicap. But as we were saying inside sitting down, Mark, there's only £5 between all 23 horses that are actually declared for this. So as we were touched on, this is a fierce competitive race.
Yes, Gary, you're the one that actually pointed that out to me, and it just goes to show you what you need to win around Galway, how competitive. So you need these small edges, whether it be position, obviously with your hurdles, you're going to get draw bias with the flat, but position is going to be key. Claiming is also going to be key, but the right claimer as well. So some of these you can see by him that they're going to have claimers on board. That's why, again, I'm going to go for, you're going to hear a lot of it out of my mouth for this first days of action, a JP McManus runner. Never a dull moment each way. I think for Dempsey trains it there, but Danny Gilligan rides, takes a valuable £7 off. And I think this, like, he's still relatively undisposed. 6-year-old by Mahler. So for me, I'm going to go for Never Dull Moment, which me and you both have had today.
Mark, yeah, that's fair enough, and we want our listeners to, I suppose, go into our dull moments we'll be here all day talking about, and there's plenty of those. Now look, interesting, Never Dull Moment ran in a 2 mile 3 handicap hurdle back in Cork on the 6th of May. Got dropped £1 for it. So look, I always find it interesting where horses are run over, I suppose, inadequate trips to what their, I suppose, their main target are festivals. So JP, obviously the colours and the white cap as well, obviously that brings attention straight away. Now one that, I suppose, again, it's a short price, but you actually brought it to my attention, mainly because of the owner. And we all know who this owner is, Paul Byrne. Only a matter of time. Trained by Niall Madden, Simon O'Callaghan's claiming 7. Now, the only thing with all a matter of time is it's priced up at 3-1. Look, I think that's a Paul Byrne factor. Whether that bookies are right or not, I don't know. But Paul has obviously turned out to be one of the shrewdest owners in the business at the moment. Ran a 2 mile 4 maiden hurdle in Roscommon on the 10th of July. Fairly well unexposed. He's only had 4 runs on track, and comes in here 105, and obviously Simon O'Callaghan claiming 7. So look, if only matter of time gets into it, and again, I'm not a big fan of backing favourites or short prices, but the Paul Byrne factor, Simon O'Callaghan claiming 7, only a matter of time would be my selection in that race if he gets in. But if he doesn't, I'm probably showing a small bit of home bias there with Dennis Hogan, trainer close home to me. Darkin obviously won this race last year, Mark. Dennis Hogan is as shrewd as they come. He's had plenty of winners around Galway, and Dan King claims 5. I think Darkin is very interesting. But, and we'll touching this really briefly, Matthew Smith. Matthew Smith knows Galway inside out. He's got 2 in this race. The one obviously that stands out is One Cool Poet, 17-2. And he obviously, his young fella claiming 7 there as well. But I think Cozone, I think we both agree that there at 16-1 is probably a good bit of value for Matthew Smith.
Yeah, Cozone, he was hammered. I think it was this race last year. It mightn't have been this race, but it was definitely one of the races at the festival last year. There was plenty of money around for this lad last year. So at 18-1, he could be under the radar there. He could have had a couple of relatively quiet runs, I suppose. And Conor McNamara, I think he's very underrated as well. He's definitely a good rider to have on board. But look, One Cool Paul, what a dude of a horse this was. And I think he's flat run the last day. He finished 2nd. But he's, of course, he'd done a famous treble here a couple of years ago, albeit on the flat. But yeah, young Matthew Smith's young fella, as you said, he's taking a valuable 7 off as well. So they'd be 2 definitely to watch. But I'm just going to go, I think Danny Gilligan's going to make the £7 is going to make the difference in my selection. I'm very, very wary of Only a Matter of Time. Look, you touched on it a lot there. I think if he gets in, everyone, look, I think this lad could be said, he could be thrown in here. Like, they're taking no chance at 3-1 though. That's why we're going for a bit of value each way. So I'm going for a never dull moment each way.
Never dull moment for Mark, and I am going to stick with Only a Matter of Time if he gets in. If not, my selection there will be Cozone around 16-18 to 1. So that was the 2 mile handicap hurdle. We'll move on to the flat now. 6:10. This is declare Galway.ie Irish EBF maiden, and look, it's run over 7 furlongs, and look, obviously usually down to the ears. Dermot was mopping up all these maiden races, but look, I think Dermot time, I suppose, as the King of Galway is probably past now, but it looks like it's going to be won by an Aidan O'Brien horse if you're going by the bookies. Now look, I actually think, again, it's a short price. Mythology, I think is actually fair value at 7-5. Now, I think this horse will be absolutely smashed in the morning, or if this goes out in the morning, it probably will be odds on. So Mythology, look, should win this race, Mark. It's simple as that. If Mythology breaks well, doesn't run into any trouble, you shouldn't think there'll be any trouble around 7 furlongs and only 7 in the race. So Mythology for me, I'm not going to go too much deep into this because I don't think there's much deep in this, but if you would have thought in this race, Mark.
See, Gary, this is where I think it gets interesting. 7 runners over 7 furlongs, they could be trouble. This is Galway, but this is what makes Galway so fascinating. You could have a 20 runner hurdle race and they might all, now look, they might not all get a clear run, but you might have less scrimmaging than you'll have here. These boys are going to be vying for position here. I think Mythology is going to be definitely the one to beat. Dylan Brown McManigal, super rider. Of course, he's the key for this race, experience, I think. I always said it, you always need experience to win a maiden around Galway. And his last run, where he finished second behind Henry Longfellow, well touted Aidan O'Brien, newcomer, who won at the Curragh. But the boys are running that second to the Fav. SP money back as a free bet for 20 quid. And I'm going to take a chance with Paddy Toomey, Billy Lee, combining here with C. de Polaris. Probably have to butcher the name. C. the Stars newcomer. That's the only thing. But look, Paddy Toomey, Billy Lee, can you really ignore their 2-year-olds? Bred in the purple, high price tag, very good owner, I'd say. And look, I just think Mythology's the one to beat, but C. Polaris definitely run him home. And if this lad is a bit special, could be the one to pull away and put up a performance.
Mark, 2 things there. Your French pronunciation is absolutely brutal. And secondly, Paddy Toomey and Billy Lee have combined in the last 3 weeks for a 50% strike rate. Now, if that doesn't catch your eye, I don't know what does. So, look, at 9-4, you can either back it out to Fav, or as you say, boys are doing SP second to the SP favourite special. So look, there's not a bad shout. Obviously coming in 94, very skinny price, but backing around to Fav, backing SP back to Fav. No, that's 94 with Paddy. There's a bit of value around if you shop around. Obviously, we're affiliated to nobody, and we won't be either
until the big bucks offers come in.
I think.
We're not going to be affiliated.
No, that's a dream there from Mark. But no, listen, come here, Billy Lee and Paddy Toomey, 50% strike rate, 6 wins from their last 12 runners. That stands out. So Mark's selection there is C. de Plary, because you don't pronounce it S, Mark, it's French. And I'm going for Mythology in the 7 furlong maiden at 6:10. Moving on to, I suppose, the big one of the day. It's Connacht Hotel. Flat handicap over 2 miles, and there's 23 declared for this. Obviously this is one of the races of the week. It's absolute class race. Paddy Mullins was on the Paddy Power preview during the week. He rides a lot of joy here, and it's hard to get away from Paddy in his selection here, but look, we won't spend too much time on it. We're going to try to get through this as quick as possible because we won't get through all the runners. Mark, who stands out to you as the winner and who stands out to you as value?
Look, you have to rate what Paddy rides in it, and of course I watched that preview you were talking about. He said he was going to leave it late, and obviously he was going to, their last piece of work was going to be the decision, but I think he was always going to ride a lot of joy. Well touted, of course, to run well at the festival, underperformed that day, but look, I happily backed the winner this last year, albeit at a bigger price than an SP had, with Echoes and Rain, of course, followed her throughout the national season since. But the one that chased her home last year was May's Runner, and I'm going to go for this son of Authorised, again each way, with Charlie Mullins, 12 to 1, 5 places. You'll get 5 places in most bookmakers. So May's Runner for me each way. I'm not going to go in depth into it. Runs very well at Galway, has very useful course and distance, or course form, and has won over the distance. And you know me, Gary, I'm a sucker for course form, especially at Galway. It means an awful lot.
Maze Runner for Mark. Yeah, no, in fairness, like second last year, it's fairly well, I suppose.
Broke his maiden on the flat as well.
Yeah, and look, he comes into the race comes into the race fresh, finished second in the Curragh, over a mile 4 handicap, and you'd imagine that Willie obviously gave Maze Runner a blowout in the Curragh back on the 2nd of July. Yeah. So look, it's look, you can probably back Willie Horse in whatever race runs in Galway this week, and look, by all accounts, one of them is going to come in.
I just think, just with this lad, don't watch the first half of the race. It's all going to unfold the second half of the race, and that's what's going to be key here. Drop him in and take a run.
Yeah, look, obviously in
Galway,
Galway,
need the look.
Obviously in Galway, you want a low draw, but look, over 2 miles. If you do miss the kick, or you do miss position starting out, look, you've plenty of time to make up for it. I'm going to go off one kind of left field now. It's same price, 11 to 1. It's a JP horse, Gordon Elliott and Harry Swan. It's Shadjack. Now, Shadjack only won in Limerick, a maiden hurdle there literally 3 or 4 days ago at this stage, and came second in a maiden before that back in Sligo. I just think Shadjack is very interesting here. One with plenty in hand in Limerick. Now look, it wasn't a deep maiden hurdle at all. Actually, by all accounts, it probably was a very poor one, if you call a spade. But Harry Swan linking up with Gordon, linking up with JP. Shadjack comes in good form, wasn't given an awful hard time in Limerick there a couple of days ago on a maiden hurdle, and look, I just think it'd be a swan song. Actually, the pun was not intended there at all. It would be a swan song if Shadjack. I'm actually delighted with that one now, because we didn't actually talk about that.
Just after writing this down for the last hour to get this
pun
out.
We're actually sitting down here, we've no notes whatsoever, it's completely off the cuff.
This is free roll.
This is, so if anyone wants to take that pun, I created, so Swan Song.
Copyrighted Gary Inc.
That's it, actually. It's not a bad name for a horse, actually, Swan Song. So Charlie, if you are listening, Charlie, your first horse can be called Swan Song. But no, Shadjack for me, Harry's riding the horse, came at 5, so look, riding off 11.4. And yeah, Shadjack for me in the Connacht Hotel 2 mile handicap. And Mark, you are going for Maze Runner. So that was the Connacht Hotel 2 mile handicap. We'll move on now to the 7:15 race, where it's a 7-furlong handicap for 3-year-olds only, 18 declared, and it's the Clare Hotel.ie handicap. Now look, it's a lottery really, if you call a spade a spade. This has been won over the last couple of years. Last year Jesse Harrington won it with Darwin. Shane Foley rode it and won at 9-2. Look, I haven't got an awfully strong opinion in this race, Mark. Can you kick us off here and see what you like in it?
I was going down through it, Gary, and look, there's snippets there to take out of a lot of these, but the one I'm drawn to is the Paddy Roach trained, Chris Hayes ridden, Bigger Than Big Time. He was second on handicap debut in the Curragh, only beaten 3 parts of a length. Disappointed the last day in Naas over 6, but I think definitely he could be mapped out here, Paddy Roach. He was a great amateur rider, his father's a great trainer, great rider, and the young fella has definitely not licked it off the ground. Runs in his own colours here, a son of Camacho, so I think for me, at 8 to 1, he's definitely my each way play. I think the snapper, he's going to be the one they all have to be really on form, but Jack Davidson's runner. But look, I'm going to go for Bigger Than Big Time each way. I'm going to keep it short and sweet.
Bigger Than Big Time for
Named
Paddy.
after myself.
No comment. Yeah, Paddy Roach, but look, Paddy knows the time of day, as he said. He didn't lick it off a stone. Chris Hayes, obviously one of the best around. He rides for him. Look, I'm actually going to go to this race with no real opinion whatsoever. Nothing stands out to me. I don't think anything is kind of overly well handicapped. I'm going to completely sit in the fence here and not have a selection for this race at all. So best of luck to everyone who does have a selection. Look, obviously folks, gamble responsibly this week. You don't have to have a bet in every single race. You can have an opinion, but look, for me, I have no opinion in this race whatsoever. And Mark, I don't hear anything smart off you. As we move on to the 1 mile 4 flat handicap, 10 to 8. This is for 3-year-olds only, and there's only 13 declared for this. So look, I love these kind of staying handicaps on the flat. This really interests me, this race. Obviously won last year by Jesse with Irish Lullaby, Shane Foley riding again, and Jesse and Shane won in 2021 as well. So Mark, kick us off here. What do you like here in the 1 mile 4 flat handicap?
I think I found one, Gary. Again, we're going to hear that name, JP McManus. I think he's going to have a phenomenal first day. Number 8, I'm not even going to pronounce it because apparently I butcher French names. It's not even a French name. Joseph O'Brien, Henry Horgan or Hugh Horgan, claiming 7, first run in a handicap, and this is a 3-year-old handicap, mile 4. 1 mile 4 flat handicap. I think I found one, Gary. Again, we're going to hear that name, JP McManus. I think he's going to have a phenomenal first day. Number 8, I'm not even going to pronounce it because apparently I butcher French names. It's not even a French name. Joseph O'Brien, Henry Horgan or Hugh Horgan, claiming 7, first run in a handicap, this son of Churchill, who of course I'm really starting to like these Churchills now, Gary. If you watch them run, and they're becoming nicer, older horses. He was ninth on debut, but then was absolutely hammered in a maiden over mile 2 in Navan. He finished third. He was only beaten. I don't know. He wasn't beaten very much that day. I think ahead. I'm looking at it here now. Actually, ahead in a short head. I'm not even going on. I'm guessing I went back in the form, but they hammered him from 16-1 into 5-1. Disappointed a bit the last day in the Curragh, but handicap debut here, claiming 7 off him. 7-1, definitely for me. Expelloramus. He's going to give it one go.
Expelloramus, Mark, for once you've actually done something right. Well done, congratulations.
Not bad.
You would probably get a C or D in past French. I'm going to go for Dr. Nightingale. Now, Gordon doesn't have too many flat winners of late, but Dr. Nightingale interests me here for a reason. Look, ran in 2 mile maiden hurdle back on the 6th of July, came second in that. Has only had 3 runs flat. He's fairly well exposed over jumps, but on the 23rd of May in Goran, ran over mile 1. On the flat, came 7th of 7. And on the 10th of May in Goran, ran on over 7 on the flat, also in a maiden. So, look, things like that really interest me, where horses jump up dramatically in distance. So, go from 7 on the flat up to mile 1, up to mile 4. Gets in off 71. And Wayne Hassett, who's a lovely young fella, he rides there for his uncle Martin. He's claiming 7. So Dr. Nightingale only has 8.5 on his back. Now it is drawn the widest, so that is something for an inexperienced jockey like Wayne to overcome. But look, listen, if you pop out well, who knows? So at 12-1, Dr. Nightingale is my selection there for Gordon and Wayne Hassett. And Mark, you're going for
Expelloramus.
That's 2 in a row, Mark. Well done, good boy.
Catch me there. I kept looking at the name. No.
Goes.
And of course, young Wayne Hassett, he's a very good rider, but you're saying young, inexperienced, but he showed like he had an old head and young shoulders in the Curragh today. He won on Harry's Hill above. So yeah, no, I would take your word for there, but yeah, I just think there's a lot pointing in the way of the JP runner for me. So look, that brings us to the last race, which is a 2 mile bumper.
I love bumpers.
Well, this is great because I'm not even going to have a selection in this, because if I did, I'm probably just going to pick the old reliable, the old forge of William Paddy, I suppose, but a 2-1. Look, for me, I'm just going to watch this race. So I'm looking at Gary here now. I think he's either very confused or else he's got a couple of good points to bring up here. So I'm gonna bring it to Gary this time to close us out with a winner, Gary.
Close out winner: Debt, Taxes, and Willie in the Bumper. That's a saying I absolutely despise, especially on Twitter when folks back a Willie horse and even money and they're jumping up and down. Look at me, how great I am after backing Willie in the Bumper. It's not rocket science. Look, again, my great mate. My great mate. This isn't an overly deep bumper. Like, if you look at Master Otis has been fairly well exposed.
I thought you were talking about me when you said my great mate.
Mark, we're not mates, we just work together. So Master Otis for Thomas Mullins and Charlie's riding claiming 7. Look, Master Otis is fairly well exposed at this stage. He's ran 3 bumpers over the last month or so. So look, again, there's not too much I think of this race as well. Reckon Ball Billy for Noel Kelly is a small interest as well, owned by Mrs. Shauna Kelly. Look, I don't have a selection in this. Last year it was won by Emmett Mullins, Joseph won it the year before, and Gordon before that. Level Never Ending and We Seek I'm Here won in 2021-2020. So it's not a great history of, I suppose, producing.
It's not a race you could get stuck into, really.
No, it's not. And the last day, most people are either crying into their pints or as they're going to back Willie in the Bumper. So, look, if you're probably going to have a bet in it, back Willie. If you don't have an opinion in it, don't back it all. I have no opinion in this. Mark, you've no selection in this either. So, that is going to conclude the 7 races in Galway.
Very interesting, though, that Mick Halford actually has one in it, and his young lad rides in a big price by Pure Ma. So just maybe want to take note there for maybe a small euro each way at 66-1. Spot the difference.
And obviously Mick has teamed up with Tracy Collins as a joint venture. You're seeing a lot of that nowadays these days, and that's actually something we're going to touch on later on.
It's kind of like us, Gary.
Mark, are you comparing us to Mick Halford and Tracy Collins?
No, because we're going to be better.
Oh, right, okay. Well, apologies Mick and Tracy if you're listening for that disrespect there from Mark. We could
all join up together and have a foursome.
So that's Mark's opinion, not mine. I'm not into foursomes, and we'll move swiftly on to our lucky 15s. So Mark, this is what we're going to do every day. We're going to go head to head, and we'll think of a forfeit during the week. So we have two options. You can either do a €1 win lucky 15 or a 50 cent each way. We're going to do it ourselves every day on our phones, and we're going to keep track of ourselves. And look, we let everyone know by the end of every day how we're getting on. Mark, what is your lucky 15?
Oh, Gary, I think I'm going to have to put them together and put it in the description, I suppose, after. It's probably going to be a JP lucky 15. Do you know what? We'll run down through them. Okay, my lucky 15. I'm going to do a Euro win. I'm going to do Mystical Power in the first. Hopefully that'll get us going. Never a Dull Moment in the second. I'm going to do in the 7-15 Bigger Than Big Time, and I'm going to finish it out with the JP runner of Explanararis. I'm after butchering it.
You're after butchering that, Mark.
He knew I couldn't do 3 in a row.
No.
So yeah, it's going to be, look, there's 3 JPs in it, but look, it is what it is. And then of course the horse of Paddy Roaches, but I'm going to go for a Euro win, lucky 15. Nice little handy bet, and if we get 1 or 2 in it, you get your money back, or you make a few little quid in a day, and you don't over exaggerate yourself. Because as Gary said earlier on, Galway, 7 days, 7 races each day. You don't want to have a bet in every race, but you want to have a little bit of fun and interest, something that you can all afford.
Mark, so that is your selection for your lucky 15. Sorry, I wasn't really paying too much attention there. Is that an each way or win only, Mark?
I'm going to go win only.
Win only. Mark is on for the big time.
I'm waiting for the middle of the week to have my 16 to 1s and 20 to 1s for the each ways.
Lovely, Mark. I can't wait for that. So I'm going to move on. So my selections for my each way lucky 15. So everyone out there, unlike Mark, I don't go for shorties mostly. So my selection for the each way lucky 15 is Dark Note in the 10 past 5, around the 11 to 1 mark. In the 5:40 and 2 mile handicap hurdle, it's Cold Zone for Matthew Smith at 16s. Shajak in the 20 to 7 for JP and Harry Swan Song, 11 to 1, and Dr. Nightingale in the 10 to 8 for Dr. Gordon Elliott. There you go, Gordon. You're after getting a doctorate off me.
PhD there in the last 10 minutes.
I wouldn't put it past Gordon. So look, a 50 cent each way, lucky 15 for that. Look, I'll give you roughly around 22 grand. So look, if anyone backs that and it comes in, I will be taking 5% commission on that. But no, that's my each way lucky 15. Mark, look, that is day 1 wrapped up. We're going to try keep it to the roughly 30-minute mark. We're on 27 minutes at the moment. Have you any final thoughts for all our listeners out there before we head into day 1?
Look, I suppose, if you're coming to me and Gary for autographs during the week, make sure you have your own pen, because ours will probably run out. No, look, as I said, we covered it earlier. This is a fun week, and we are here for entertainment and enjoyable, and hopefully we get a few winners. So we're letting you an insight into what we are going to kind of a bet we're going to have to do, the everyman's bet, and hopefully, look, we get a few winners. But the racing's phenomenal. You don't even have to have a bet to enjoy the racing. So just get down there to Galway or watch it on the TV and enjoy yourselves, is what I would say.
No, soak it all in, and listen, you'll hear loads of puns during the week and everything about Galway and all that. Listen, just enjoy the week. Regardless of the weather, get down and support Galway. What they do there every year is absolutely phenomenal. If you're staying in Galway, make sure you go to local restaurants, pubs, and everything. Give everyone, I suppose, a few pound, and let's keep things rocking. So look, guys, that has been Gary Toohey, Mark Fanning. That is day 1 of Galway and of MG Racing's Galway preview. We will be back again tomorrow for day 2.
You've already dropped the end, by the way.
Sorry, what?
You've just been GR Racing.
No, I said MG Racing, Mark. So when you listen to this back, Mark, because this goes out with no edits at all, so this is off the cuff, unfortunately. So I probably will have to get a solicitor in to cover Mark's libels. So hopefully we have a couple of winners this week.
I'm just going to issue an apology to everyone I offended already, and they can cover. It's covered.
You might have to issue future apologies, because there probably will be plenty of them, Mark. Listen, thanks very much everyone for listening. This has been Gary Toohey and Mark Fanning for MG Racing. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow for day 2 of Galway.
Cheers, guys.